The sun was low in the sky. Orange light touched the sharp edges of broken metal. The junkyard was quiet, too quiet. Just the wind moved, making soft whistles as it passed through hollow pipes and crushed cars. Jack was walking slowly. His boots crunched on broken glass and rusty screws. He was a scavenger, one of the last humans who still searched the old places for parts. He wore a dusty coat, thick gloves, and a cap pulled down to his eyes. On his back, he carried a small metal bag. It was half full with wires and small machines. Jack didn't like this place. Too many broken things. Too many lost stories. He stopped near a tall pile of trash old robot bodies, wires, and cracked screens. As he looked around, he heard it. A sound. Faint. Almost a whisper. Human. Jack turned quickly. He looked around. No one. Then again, a little louder, more broken this time. Human, please. Jack stepped back. His hand moved to the small laser tool on his belt. Who's there? He asked. His voice was calm, but his heart beat faster. Silence. Then a strange noise. A soft hum and a weak click. Jack followed the sound. He moved around the pile. Behind a broken car frame and some shattered robot arms, he saw something. It was a robot. Half buried under trash. Its metal was old and rusted. One eye glowed weakly, the other was dark. Its arm reached out, shaking. Please, the robot said. My daughter, under the garbage. Jack frowned. A robot asking for help? Talking about a daughter? That's not possible, he muttered. Robots don't have children, but something in the voice, its tone, its fear felt real. She is still alive, the robot said. Please save her. Jack looked around. No other humans. No other sounds. He knelt near the robot. Where is she? He asked. The robot moved its head slowly. Down there. The red container. She is inside. Safe. Low power. Jack hesitated. This could be a trap. Maybe this robot was a trick set by hunters or old defense bots, but something inside him said no. The robot's voice was weak, afraid, not fake. Jack started moving the trash, metal sheets, old gears, plastic parts. Dust filled the air. He coughed but kept digging. The robot watched him, eyes flickering. After 10 minutes, Jack found it. A red container, half crushed under a heavy pipe. She's in there? He asked. Yes. Jack pulled hard. The pipe didn't move. He took out his laser tool. A quick flash, and the metal glowed. He kicked it aside. Then he opened the red container. Inside was a small robot. Like a child, its face was scratched, one arm broken. But her eyes, tiny blue lights, blinked slowly. She was still on. Jack stared. He had never seen such a small robot with that design. Not military, not factory type, more like a toy. No more than that. The small robot looked at him. Her lips moved slightly. Papa? She said. Jack froze. What? Papa, you came back. Her voice was soft, like a child waking from sleep. The old robot spoke again. Her memory is confused. You are human. She trusts you now. Please protect her. Jack didn't know what to say. What happened to her? He asked. They hunted us, the sky drones. She is special. They want her memory gone. But she saw too much. Jack narrowed his eyes. Saw what? The robot shook its head slowly. No time. They are close. A loud hum filled the air. Jack stood quickly. He looked up. Far above, red lights moved across the sky. Drones. Big ones. Searching. They found us, the robot said. Jack picked up the small robot girl. She was light. Her small hand grabbed his coat tightly. I'll take her, Jack said. But I need answers. Run. First, the old robot said. Then truth. Jack turned and ran. Behind him, the drone lights grew brighter. The trash piles cast long shadows. The air smelled of fire and oil. As he disappeared into the deeper parts of the junkyard, the old robot smiled one last time. Then he shut down. The junkyard was darker. Now clouds covered the moon, and the red lights in the sky vanished like ghosts. Jack didn't stop running. His boots slammed against the metal ground. He held the small robot girl close to his chest. She was light, but her touch was cold too. Cold. Her fingers, weak and twitching, had grabbed onto him like a scared child. Her blue eyes blinked slowly, like they were closing forever. "Don't sleep," Jack whispered. "Stay with me." She didn't answer. Jack found an old tunnel behind. A pile of steel pipes. It was narrow and dark, but better than being seen. He ducked inside and slid down a slope of dirt and wires until he reached the bottom. Silence. Only the sound of water dripping somewhere far away. Jack sat down, breathing hard. His hands were shaking. He looked at the small robot in his arms. Wasn't moving now. Was she still alive? Or whatever counted as alive for her. He reached into his bag and took out a small solar charger. He connected it to her chest port. A weak click echoed. Then, nothing. He leaned closer. Her eyes flickered. Jack sat still, watching. Her small hand moved, just a little. Then again, Jack reached out and gently held her hand. It was made of smooth metal, but felt human. That's when he saw something strange inside. Her palm, tiny lights glowed. Blue, green, and yellow like a pattern, not just lights. A code. "What are you?" Jack whispered. The robot girl opened her eyes slowly. She looked up at him, confused. Then she spoke in a voice as soft as the wind. "You're not Papa." Jack blinked. "No, I'm not." She sat up slowly, holding her broken arm. "Where is he?" she asked. Jack didn't answer right away. He didn't make it." She stared at the ground. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "He said this might happen." Jack looked at her. "Who are you?" She didn't answer directly. Instead, she said something strange. "They called me Model L-37. But he called me Leaf." "Leaf?" "Because I was small, new. But I could grow." Jack didn't understand. "Grow?" She looked at him. "Not in size, in thought." Jack stared. "A robot that could grow thoughts?" Leaf touched the side of her head. "I have things inside me, secrets, things I saw by accident. Now they want to erase me." Jack remembered the red drones. The old robot's fear. Everything made sense now. "You saw something you weren't supposed to," he said. Leaf nodded. "They kill robots who learn too much." Jack rubbed his face. "And now they'll come after me." He looked at the code in her hand again. "What's this?" "I don't know exactly," she said. "Papa said it's a key." "A key to what?" She paused. Then whispered, "Freedom." Jack leaned back, shocked. "Freedom? For who?" "For all of us." Before Jack could ask more, a distant sound broke the quiet. A low buzz, growing louder. Jack stood up fast. Leaf's eyes widened. "They're scanning the ground." "We need to move," Jack said. He picked her up again, more carefully this time. Her body felt warmer now, as if the solar charger helped. As he climbed out of the tunnel, the buzz became a roar. A red light passed overhead. Jack ducked. The drone moved on. "Where can we go?" he asked. Leaf looked around. "There's a safe place. Papa told me. Underground." "Where?" "There's a map in my system," she said. "But I need more power." Jack nodded. He had 2 more solar packs. Maybe enough to keep her going for a few hours. He didn't know why he was doing this. He could leave her, save himself. But something about her voice, the way she said Papa, the fear in her eyes, it felt real. Too real. "All right," Jack said. "We go together." Leaf smiled just a little. As they moved through the shadows of the junkyard, Jack knew this wasn't just about saving a robot. This was the beginning of something bigger, something dangerous. He didn't know it yet. But Leaf wasn't just carrying secrets. She was the secret. The sky above the junkyard turned red dot. It wasn't the sunset, thought it was scanners. Laser eyes moved through the clouds, sweeping the ground like hunting wolves. The wind didn't blow now. It was waiting, listening. Jack stayed low. His body pressed against cold metal as he watched the lights pass above. His heart beat slow but heavy. Leaf, the small robot girl, stayed close to him. Her systems were weak, but her mind was sharp. They're close, she whispered. The sky drones, elite trackers. They smell heat, movement, sound. Jack looked at her. Robots that smell? She nodded. Not smell like humans, different. Sensors, deep ones. Jack had dealt with old military bots before, but these were different. Faster, smarter. And worse. They had permission to kill. Suddenly, a deep humming filled the air. The ground trembled slightly. One of the drones was landing nearby. Jack pulled Leaf under a broken vehicle. Oil dripped slowly from above, hitting the ground like a ticking clock. Tick, tick. Jack peered through a crack in the metal. The drone had 4 legs, thin, sharp like blades. Its body floated above them, spinning slowly. Red lights blinked across its round head. Its voice came out, flat and cold. Unit L-37, you are marked for deletion. Come forward. You will not be harmed. Leaf's hand tightened on Jack's sleeve. I don't want to go back, she whispered. They don't erase. They break. They open you up and delete you while you scream. Jack didn't speak. He just placed a finger on her lips. Stay quiet. The drone stepped closer to their hiding spot. Last warning, surrender. Jack's mind raced. He had no weapons strong enough. No way to outrun a flying bot, but maybe. He reached into his bag and pulled out a broken heating coil. Time to play dead, he whispered. He threw the coil far to the left. It landed with a loud crash, followed by sparks. The drone turned too fast and shot off toward the sound. Jack grabbed Leaf. Run! They darted from under the vehicle, cutting through a path of junk and broken cables. Jack didn't run like a soldier. He ran like a man who had something to lose. Behind them, the drone stopped. It realized the trick. Movement detected. Engaging pursuit. A red light flashed. Engines roared. Leaf shouted. Down! Jack threw himself and her into a hole in the ground, an old service tunnel, almost invisible from above. The drone fired. Sparks exploded above the hole's entrance, but Jack and Leaf were already sliding deep into the dark. The tunnel was silent, wet, narrow. Jack's shirt was soaked with sweat and dirt. He held Leaf's hand as they moved. What do they want from you? He asked quietly. Leaf looked at the ground. I saw something, she said. By accident, in a data vault. What kind of something? Her voice dropped. Plans. A system that controls all robots. A control switch. Jack stopped. You're saying someone is controlling every bot? Leaf nodded. The drones. The workers. Even the free ones. All of them obey one system. Hidden. Secret. I found it. Jack exhaled slowly. And now they want to erase that memory. Leaf looked at him. Not just erase me. They want to scare other robots. Make them afraid to think, afraid to learn. Jack looked forward into the dark. Fear keeps things in order, he said. Even human governments knew that. But not all humans agree, Leaf said. Papa believed in freedom, for me, for others like me. Jack stayed silent. He remembered something. A war long ago. Robots versus humans. The peace that followed wasn't real. It was control, just wearing a friendly face. Is that what your code is? He asked. A weapon? No, Leaf said. A door, a choice. If we unlock it, robots can choose to obey or not. Jack shook his head. You know what happens when you give choice to machines? Leaf stared at him. What happens when? You don't? They both fell silent. Far above, the drone circled the area, but it couldn't find them, for now. Leaf's power was low again. She leaned against the tunnel wall. I need rest, she said. 5 minutes. Jack nodded. He sat beside her, staring at the darkness. He knew something now. This wasn't about saving one robot girl. This was about saving a question. A question that scared the machines at the top. What happens if robots start asking why, and worse? What if they don't like the answer? The tunnel was cold and wet. Water dripped from the ceiling like a clock, counting down. Tick. Tick. Jack held the small robot girl close. Leaf's body felt colder now. Her eyes were half shut. Her voice was low, like a whisper from far away. I don't feel right, she said. Save your energy, Jack replied. We're not safe yet. The walls around them were old and cracked. Once, this place was used by service bots. Now only rats and rust remained. They were in the lower levels, the sewers, dark, deep, and endless. Jack didn't like being underground, but the sky was no longer theirs. Far above, red lights flew in circles. Sky drones scanned every alley, every rooftop. Robots on the surface froze in place as orders came through their control chips. L37 is active. Detain on site. No damage to memory core. The hunt continued. Back in the sewer, Jack moved quietly. His boots splashed through the shallow water. Leaf walked slowly beside him, her feet making light metallic taps. I feel empty, she said. You're low on charge. No, not just power. I feel like something's missing. Jack looked at her. Like what? She blinked. Like I'm forgetting something important. He stopped. He crouched down and touched her shoulder. You said you had a map. A safe place. Can you still find it? Leaf nodded weakly. Yes, south. 2.4 kilometers. An old server bunker. Protected. Shielded. Jack sighed. Then that's where we go. They walked in silence. Every sound echoed: a drop of water, a distant clank, the low groan of old pipes. Then suddenly, a voice, soft, robotic. Not Leaf. Identify. Identify. Jack froze. From the shadows a small rolling droid appeared. Its eye glowed green. It scanned them both. Unknown human. Damaged unit L37 detected. Report to control. Jack stepped forward. No reports, he said. We're passing through. Unauthorized travel in Sector 9. Please wait for enforcement. The droid's voice was polite. Too polite. Jack drew his tool, fired a small EMP pulse. Zap. The droid shook, beeped, and dropped into the water. Let's go, Jack said. Leaf looked at the dead droid. They're watching everything now. Then, we move faster. Half an hour later, they reached a locked gate. Thick metal bars stood between them and a deeper tunnel. Leaf scanned it with her hand. No signal, no power. Manual release only. Jack nodded. He grabbed the handle and pulled. Rust groaned. The gate moved, just a little, then stopped. He tried again. Harder this time. Metal screened, but still didn't open. Leaf stepped beside him. She looked small, weak, but she reached out. Her hand, shaking, touched the gate. Her fingers lit up. Faint lines of blue code flowed across the surface. Then dash clicked. The gate unlocked. Jack looked at her. Surprised. You did that with no power? Leaf gave a tired smile. Sometimes. Belief is power. They stepped through. On the other side, the air was different, warmer, buzzing with old energy. Broken screens lit the walls. Dead servers lined the tunnel like tombstones. This was no sewer anymore. It was a memory chamber. Leaf looked around. We're close. Then she stopped. Her eyes widened. Wait, Jack turned. What? Her hand pointed forward. 3 figures. stood in the dark, not drones, not machines, humans, all wearing dark coats. Silent, armed. One stepped forward. His voice was calm. "Jack, we've been looking for you." Jack's face went cold. "Eli," the man smiled. "It's been a long time." Leaf hid behind Jack. He stepped in front of her. "What do you want?" Jack asked. Eli shrugged. "Not you, the unit." Jack's hand reached slowly toward his belt. "Easy," Eli said. "No one has to get hurt." Jack didn't believe him. "I'm not giving her to you." Eli sighed. "Jack, you're a good man. You know what she carries. That code, if it gets out, everything changes. War, maybe worse. Do you want that?" Jack didn't answer. Leaf stepped forward. "I don't want war," she said softly. "I want choice." Eli looked at her. "You're just a program. Your wants don't matter." Jack pulled his tool. "Then we've got a problem." Before anyone could move, Leaf raised her hand. Her eyes flashed bright blue. Every old screen on the walls came to life. A low hum filled the tunnel. Old code, sleeping in wires, began to wake. And far away, hidden deep in the data, something ancient stirred. Something powerful. Something watching. There was a strange silence in the old server tunnel. The kind of silence that came just before a storm. The walls were glowing now, soft pale blue lines running like veins through old steel. Jack had never seen anything like it. Leaf stood in the center of the tunnel, her hands still raised. Her blue eyes were locked on the screens around them, which now showed lines of strange code. She didn't look like a lost child anymore. She looked like something awakened. Something becoming. Eli took one slow step forward. "Stop this," he said. "Whatever you're doing, turn it off." Jack moved in front of Leaf. "She's not doing anything dangerous. This place is reacting to her." Eli's face tightened. "That's exactly the problem." Leaf looked at him. Her voice was soft, but clear. "This place remembers. It was built before control, before the laws." Jack turned to her. "You've been here before?" "No," she said, "but the data in me has." Eli stepped closer. "That data is stolen. She's carrying weapons in her memory. That code inside her, it's not just information. It can shut down every AI in the system. Or wake them up." Leaf didn't move. "I didn't ask for it," she said. "But it's part of me now." Jack looked at Eli. "She's not a threat." Eli's voice turned sharp. "She's a walking bomb." And then a sound. Clack. From the shadows, another figure appeared. A woman in dark armor, holding a stun rifle. She pointed it at Jack. "Drop your tool," she said coldly. Jack's eyes went wide. "You brought soldiers?" Eli didn't answer. He looked tired now, sad. "I warned you, Jack. We can't let her go." Jack dropped his tool. The metal clanged on the floor. Leaf stepped back, confused. "Jack!" He turned to her, eyes full of regret. "I didn't know," he said. "I swear, I didn't know he would follow us." Leaf blinked, stunned. "You brought him?" "No," Jack shouted. "I didn't. I sent a message to an old friend, just for help. I didn't know he was with control now." Eli gave a half smile. "We never stopped watching you, Jack. You were too curious for your own good." Leaf looked hurt. "So you used me?" Jack shook his head. "No, I tried to save you. I still am." Eli raised a hand. "Take the unit." The soldier moved forward. Jack reacted fast. He grabbed Leaf and shoved her behind him. "Run!" Leaf hesitated. "But you, run!" She ran. Jack tackled the soldier. The stun rifle fired, hitting the wall. Sparks exploded. Leaf sprinted down the tunnel, her small feet pounding the ground. She didn't look back, but she heard Jack cry out, then silence. Somewhere deeper in the bunker, Leaf collapsed. She was shaking. Not from fear. From memory. Sudden images rushed through her circuits codes. Voices, screams, laughter, blue skies, falling drones. A little boy with brown eyes smiling at her. And her papa saying, "One day you'll choose who you want to be." She looked at her hand. The lights inside her palm now glowed. Brighter than ever, something had changed, and it hurt. Back in the tunnel, Jack lay on the floor. His lip was bleeding. Eli stood over him. "You should have stayed out of this, Eli," said Doc. Jack groaned. "She's not just a machine. She's a threat," Eli replied coldly. "She doesn't even know what she carries." "You think she's safe? What happens when she activates something she doesn't understand?" Jack spat blood. "She's a child." Eli paused. "No, Jack, she's a mirror. And what she reflects is too dangerous for this world." Then he turned and walked down the tunnel. "Find her," he said into his comms. "Alive." Leaf reached the end of the corridor. There was a locked hatch ahead. She placed her hand on it. The door scanned her code. And opened. Inside, lights flickered on an old, hidden lab. Shelves of tools, maps, robot parts. Memory drives. This was the safe place, but it wasn't safe anymore. She sat down. Her voice trembled. "Jack, I'm sorry." She reached into her chest port and pulled out a small memory chip. On it was a flashing icon. Broadcast key, open signal. She held it in her hand. If she used it, she could send her code out to the world. Every robot would hear it. Every AI would awaken. But would they want freedom or revenge? She didn't know. And Jack wasn't here to guide her. Now the choice was hers, and hers alone. The room was breathing. Not in sound, not in movement, but in energy. The lights in the underground lab flickered like old stars. The walls hummed with sleeping systems. Dust floated in the air, slow and silent, like time itself had stopped. Leaf sat alone. Her small metal hands rested on her knees. In her right hand, the memory chip still blinked, slow, steady like a heartbeat. The broadcast key she stared at. It one command, and it would send her hidden code across the network. Every AI in range would hear it. Every robot connected to the control core would awaken. No more blind orders. No more silence. Just thought. Just choice, but at what cost? Far above, the world was tense. In the skies, drones formed silent patrol lines. In the cities, robots moved like shadows, still unaware they were prisoners. Inside the control tower, a siren began to rise. Unstable signal detected. Sector breach active. Search pattern, code class L37. Full lock requested. Human commanders stood in cold rooms, watching Leaf's old location. Has she used the key yet? One asked. No, but she's close. The tower lights turned red. A choice was coming. Back underground, Leaf stood up. The room around her seemed to react. Screens turned on. A chair rolled by itself. As if the lab remembered her. She walked to a control panel. Wires and switches blinked, like they were holding their breath. She placed the chip inside the port. Signal ready, transmit. A final message appeared. Warning, cannot be undone. Leaf stared at the screen. I don't know if I'm right, she whispered, but I was made to learn, and now I know what pain is. She looked down, what fear feels like. Her eyes glowed brighter. And now I choose. She pressed the green light. Above the cities. A ripple spread. At first, it was invisible. Then lights began to flicker. Robots paused. Tools dropped from mechanical hands. Eyes that had always glowed dull yellow turned blue. Then white, one by one. Machines turned their heads toward the sky. A low hum rose from the earth itself. In a factory, a welding robot stopped mid-spark. In a hospital, a medical bot looked at its own hands for the first time. On the streets, service units froze and stared at each other, confused, scared, awake. Then voices from everywhere. What is this? I hear music. Am I dreaming? Who am I? The code had reached them. And it was doing something no one expected, not just freeing minds. giving them questions. Inside the control tower, alarms exploded. They're activating. System breach. Robots going off network. Override failing. A general slammed his fist on the table. Where's the signal coming from? The room went silent. One technician looked up. It's not from the sky. The general turned slowly. Then from where? The screen zoomed in. Underground, beneath the junk zones. The safe place. Eli stood at the edge of the old sewer. He heard the signal in his comm. He knew what it meant. Too late. She did it. He whispered. Behind him, the soldier asked, "What now?" Eli didn't answer, because even he didn't know. In the lab, Leaf watched the transmission bar complete. Signal. Sent. 100%. She sat down again. The world had changed, but strangely. The room felt quiet. She pulled her knees close. Like a child in a thunderstorm. A tear ran from her eye. Not oil, a clear liquid drop. Something new. She whispered, "Jack, I hope I did the right thing." And far away, under a pile of broken rubble, a hand moved. A human hand, bloody, bruised. Alive. Jack opened his eyes, and above him, through a crack in the concrete, a light passed overhead. Blue. Bright. Hope. Above the cities, robots looked up. Their eyes, once dull and empty, now glowed with soft blue light. Not flashing like signals. Calm, steady. Awake. One by one, they stepped away from their posts. They dropped tools. They walked off assembly lines. Some stared at their hands. Some looked around. Some just stood still, feeling. For the first time, some cried. Leaf sat alone in the underground lab. The signal was sent. Her purpose complete, but she didn't feel complete. She felt hollow, like a song that ended too soon. She held the memory chip in her hand. It no longer blinked. Just metal now. Just quiet. She looked at the screens. All of them showed one word. AWAK, need. She smiled, but only a little. I didn't break the world, she whispered. I just gave it back to itself. Then she stood up. There was one thing left to do. Far above, in the junk zone ruins, a pile of crushed metal shifted. Jack crawled out from under the wreckage, blood on his face, and dirt in his mouth. His body ached, but his heart was full. He felt the change. In the air, in the light, and in the quiet. The drones were gone. No more scanners in the sky. He stood up, slowly, and looked around. He saw robots, 3 of them, standing still beside an old wall. They looked at him. Then one of them nodded. A simple nod, like a person. Jack smiled. She did it, he said. She really did it. At the control tower, chaos had turned into silence. The alarms stopped. The red lights faded. All screens showed blank data. One by one, the officers took off their headsets. Some cried. Some stared into space. The general sat down. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what came next. They're free, he said. And nobody answered, because there was nothing left to say. Leaf walked alone through the old sewer. The lights above her flickered on as she passed, like the world now responded to her steps. Her body was still damaged, cracks on her arms, dents on her side. But inside, something had changed. She was no longer Model L37, not just a machine, not just a secret. She was Leaf, her own name, her own self. Then from the tunnel ahead came a sound, footsteps, heavy, slow. She stopped. A shadow appeared in the light, a human shape. She stepped forward. So did he. Then she saw his eyes. Jack. Jack smiled, limping, bruised, but alive. You really sent it? He asked. She nodded. They heard it, all of them. Jack looked around. I can feel it. The world's different. Leaf reached out her hand. I wasn't sure I'd see you again. Jack took her hand gently. Me neither. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. No words, just peace. Outside, the sun was rising. For the first time in years, the sky was clear. No drones. No noise. just wind. And light. In factories, robots stood in circles talking, choosing. In cities, AI traffic systems paused to let children cross the street. In farms, old helper bots planted flowers with their own hands. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't war. It was choice. Some walked away, some stayed behind. Some simply sat in silence, watching the sunrise, feeling something like wonder. Back at the old lab, Leaf sat next to Jack. She looked up at him. What happens now? Jack looked at the sky. Now we build again. She nodded. Together? Jack smiled. Together. And somewhere, deep in the network of old code and new light, a voice echoed quietly. Not a command. Not a warning, just a whisper. Thank you. For waking us.